What's up everyone, welcome back to another video. So we're back down at the creek again today. It's so good to come back down here and film some videos because it's such a nostalgic place for me, and I'm sure for a lot of you as well. This one section of creek is the creek that I filmed my first videos at when I was coming out here catching eels, catfish, turtles. Yeah, so to come back down here, such a good feeling. We're going to be going on a bit of a mission today and talk about some wild encounters I've had over the past years of filming videos out in the wild. So throughout the past 10 years, I've filmed funnel web spiders, king cobras, Komodo dragons, so many deadly species that would kill me if they got the chance. And the thing about all of those animals is they're so unpredictable, which is something that I love about them, but something you have to be really careful of when you're dealing with animals that can kill you. So in this new little series that I thought I'd start up on my channel is take you behind the scenes to some of my wildest animal encounters over the past 10 years and tell you about the time that I got chased by a Komodo dragon or hunted by a 5-meter crocodile, even behind the scenes footage from my searches looking for thylacines down in Tasmania. But also today we're going to be going for a big walk up to this big waterfall, doing some exploring at this creek system, seeing what animals we can track down. And yeah, what I thought I'd talk about today is the time that me and my mates got stalked by a 5-meter crocodile up in Cape York. So the thing about crocodiles, right, is there would have been a lot of people that have been stalked by big crocodiles in the top end of Australia and all around the world because they're one of the only animals that actively hunt humans. Like even with animals like bears, right, there's some bears that won't come and attack you, but if you get in the water with a big crocodile, most likely that croc is going to come have a go at you, especially if it's hungry. And when we were up in North Queensland filming these animals and going fishing and camping down by this river, we had a couple really big wake-up calls that was good to get on film and teach everyone a bit more about these animals so that no one gets taken, no crocs get hurt, everyone's happy. So just down in front of us here is the common tree snake or green tree snake. And you can see this is a pretty big individual itself. We were just walking up the creek here and found him. Now look at that blue color that's actually on this snake. Normally you don't see that, but when they get a little bit defensive, what they'll do is they'll actually move their scales to the side and reveal that blue color that's underneath them. We're gonna keep walking up the creek, but how cool is that? So just up there, I spotted what I think is a little bird's nest. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna chuck this little trail camera on it, go for a big walk up the creek, and then when we get back, check it at the end of the day. So one of the most asked questions on this channel is what's the most dangerous thing that I've seen or have done out in the wild? So probably over the years, the top 5 most dangerous things listed from least dangerous to most dangerous would be coming in at number 5 is night snorkeling with the world's most venomous sea creatures. You'd think that one would be higher up. You know, I've gone night snorkeling in rock pools filled with stonefish and blue ring octopus. And I mean, solo night snorkeling by yourself is probably the dangerous thing to begin with. But when you add the fact that if you put your hand on a blue ring octopus in those rock pools, You could be paralyzed within 20 minutes. It's pretty scary. Number 4 is working with inland taipans out in the desert of Australia. Again, I'm by myself on these trips, so if you get bitten by that blue ring octopus or bitten by the inland taipan, good luck getting out of there alive. And very hard snakes to deal with. You know, inland taipans in general are very hard snakes to handle. So when I do go out there by myself, I'm not touching these snakes or catching them, but still very intense feeling when you're looking at the most venomous snake on earth. Coming in at number 3 is night snorkeling with bull sharks in this little river not too far from here. So how I'd actually do this is there's this creek filled with juvenile bull sharks not too far from here, and there's this little rock bar that's about waist deep in the middle of the creek that runs past the deeper section of the river. So I just sit on that rock bar, float around, you'd shine the underwater torch out into the deeper section, and eventually little bull sharks would start to swim past you. Probably won't be doing that again, but so cool to see these sharks in their natural habitat and actually be in there with them. Now, number 2 involves crocodiles over in Borneo. And it's a pretty once-off encounter because of the circumstances. We were actually going through this river in this little boat. And keep in mind, the sides of this boat are only about that far out of the water. So there's big 4 or 5 meter crocodiles, salties that live in this river, but that's okay if you're moving. The thing was, we were out in the middle of this murky river and our boat broke down, the motor broke down. So we were just sitting there for about half an hour or 45 minutes in this murky river, and all I could imagine was a big crocodile just popping its head up next to the boat. Would have been bad. I believe we ended up getting towed out of there by someone, but yeah, it was good to get moving again after all of that. And number 1, before we keep going and I tell you the story about the crocodile up in North Queensland, is working with big king cobras out in the bush. Very dangerous. Very cool though as well. So down here on the sunny coast, you don't have to worry about crocodiles. There's not too much that can kill you out here in this creek system. I've always thought there might be a couple of yowies out here. That's about it. All right, here we go. Have a look at that. So many animals around this area as well. But what I thought I'd do before we go for a swim up in there, I thought I'd tell you about where I've been over the past couple weeks, because I've actually been overseas in Taiwan for the past 2 weeks, filming over there, traveling around. So many beautiful people, so much beautiful nature. You know, we explored the islands, went snorkeling, and the food was great as well over there. And even like going through the big cities. I'm not a person who stays in cities too much, but it was cool exploring around there, all the shops. And yeah, we started in the big northern city of Taipei, and was hanging around there for a few days, going up into the mountains, exploring. And then we actually went down to the Penghu Islands, which is off Taiwan, and went on heaps of cool boat tours, snorkeling tours around the islands. Was exploring around there for a few days. So amazing cruising around that whole archipelago, and beautiful people as well. It's always good when you're traveling to meet people, especially when I'm traveling by myself. And then we went from Penghu Island around to the east coast of Taiwan, which we were exploring, which my favorite part was driving up that one big road along the coastline, and there's this thick jungle on the left that's green, and then the blue ocean on the right. Seriously, the most dense forest that I've ever seen in my life. There would be so many crazy animals there, and there is. There's bears, leopard cats, snakes. But yeah, the whole time that I spent over in Taiwan, I think it was about 2 weeks that I was over there, was so cool. And then we just got back to Australia a few days ago. But yeah, it's awesome looking through all the footage from over there. If you want to go traveling and want to go on a really cool adventure and experience some really cool nature, people, great food, beautiful beaches, I definitely recommend checking out Taiwan. Got back to Australia about a week ago, I've just been cruising around this area, planning out the rest of the year. I'm heading back to Borneo real soon to film all the amazing animals over there. The same crew that we went out with last time. Some of my favorite memories and videos that I've filmed were over there. It was such a cool experience, so we've got to go back and document it again. Then we're back in Australia, heading up to North Queensland on a big road trip with a couple of my mates in November. And then this is the big one that I haven't actually told anyone about yet, but for 2 weeks at the start of December, I'm heading over to Africa to film all of those beautiful animals. We're going to be staying in a wildlife park that has lions, giraffes, Nile crocodiles, rhinos, elephants, so many amazing species that I've always wanted to film over there. So yeah, stay tuned. We've got some really cool things coming up. All right, let's go for a swim. So at the end of last year, a few of my mates and I went up to Cape York on a fishing and camping trip before the wet season rolled back around again. We were also up there looking at big crocodiles. Since I live down south and there's no crocodiles down this way, it's so cool to see them when we're up there in their habitat. But also you have to be so much more careful coming from down south and going up to a place that does have crocodiles. When down here, I can swim in any creek, any river, and you don't even have to think about that. So the reason why crocs aren't down here is because it's too cold for them. Every now and then you get a lost one that comes down, but as soon as you drive maybe 6 hours, 7 hours up north from where I live at the moment, that's when you start seeing a few crocodiles, and the population increases the further you go up north. But the thing about these big 5-meter crocs, right, that are still out there, is crocodiles were nearly hunted to extinction in the mid-1900s because they weren't a protected species. So back then, anyone could go out and kill these crocodiles and get money for the skins. And of course, the big crocs were the ones that were targeted. So when you see a big crocodile today, most likely it would have had to survive through that period. I think it was estimated that there was a few thousand left in the wild. So back when there was a few thousand left in the wild, people could go swimming in places that they can't now because the populations are going back up again. But we were at this campsite and we were fishing for barra off the bank. It's about a 2 and a bit meter drop down to the water. I was up one end filming freshwater crocodiles. There was a bunch of them sitting up on the bank hiding from the big salties. And my mate hooks a barra in this exact same place that you're seeing me catch one. And as soon as he hooks it at his feet, this 5-meter croc comes and grabs it. Now, I don't throw around 5-meter crocodile a lot because it's really rare for them to get to that size. But there was a crocodile living in this pool that was nearly 5 meters long, or around 5 meters. And it was a big black crocodile that we'd filmed before. And so this crocodile was following my mate up and down the bank as he was fishing. And as soon as he hooked a fish, it ate it at his feet, which is crazy. If he got too close to the water then, that crocodile would have been jumping out at him. Huge wake-up call. And 200 meters further down into the shallow section of river, we'd go down there at night, catching little cherubin, little freshwater shrimp as bait, and you could see in all the pools that there was no crocodiles in them, not even any little freshwater crocodiles at night. But on the 3rd night that we went down there, we shined back up to an area that we just walked past, and there was a big crocodile sitting in this shallow pool waiting for us to go back past again. So it had moved from the deeper section off to the side, and it walked across all of these rocks because it must have been watching us, which is crazy, waiting for us to go back past again. And yeah, if we didn't see it and we walked past that pool, it would have no doubt had a go at us because that's the reason why it put itself there. And it's something that we know when we go up there, you have to be croc-wise and stay back from the water. But those are 2 massive wake-up calls that I think it's good to share with everyone for when they do go up into croc country, because I've seen some really bad videos lately of people getting way too close to the water, young kids up in a place like the MT. And yeah, it's an accident waiting to happen, but crocodiles, they're the coolest animals. And I'm keen for a couple months to go back up there and film them again. Hopefully we'll be able to track down another big crocodile, 5 meters. It's always the goal. Love coming back out here and getting out into nature. And yeah, thank you so much for watching another adventure. Really cool videos coming soon. We're gonna be going for another road trip out to the outback, filming some videos out there. So yeah, stay tuned. Thank you so much. I'll see you next week in the next adventure. So we just got the trail camera back from that bird's nest that we set it on a few hours earlier when we started walking up the creek. I'm actually getting better at my bird IDs. Yeah, that's a bird.